Started off the year pretty good. After making some good driver changes in week 11, this team climbed all the way to second place by week 14. And while everybody was watching Smoke D&D, running away with it, this team actually quietly sat in second place for 9 weeks straight. Nobody was paying attention to them. They were watching Smoke D&D. When the chase hit, this team was once again sitting in the top 3. As the chase progressed, this team still continued to run well, but some of the other teams around it got really hot, had some top 5s, some top 10s, and eventually this team pulled back to finish the year in 6th place. So, and one other thing, I made a note here just this afternoon. This year's 6th place team, I want to add, I would call a powerhouse, because this team is our only returning champion from 2007. We all know this is tough to do. And in 2007, this team finished in 2nd place. And now in 2008, they're finishing in 6th place. And I think that's quite a feat when you know how hard it is to finish in the top 10 in this league. So how about giving some appreciation to our 2008 6th place finisher? Here we go.
There you go. Beer break.
Quick beer. Go ahead. You have no more to win anyway.
Yeah, quick beer.
Just keep this, don't turn it off on.
All right.
Oh, okay.
5th place for 2008.
Just don't turn it off.
Where I can see. Our 5th place finisher this year. This is a good story. I like this story. They started the first half of the year in 48th place. Okay? The driver changes hit. They make their driver changes. In successive weeks, this team moves from 48th to 38th, the next week to 29th, then to 28th, 27th, 24th, 20th, 19th, 18th, 14th, 9th. I'm watching this team climb every single week, all in successive weeks. Then the chase hits, and they quieted down. For the first 6 races of the chase, this team hangs right around 16th and doesn't move. 16th, 15th, back to 16th, and they don't move. That's the first 6 races of the chase. And then all of a sudden, week 33, Atlanta. This team wins the Atlanta race. It jumps them from 16th, where they've been, all the way up into 11th. The following week is Texas. They finish 6th. The following week from there is Phoenix. They finish 9th. Now we go into the last race at Homestead, and amongst the top 10 teams, this team finishes 2nd. So essentially, this team, with 4 races to go, they pulled 4 top 10s in a row at the end of the year, and one of them being a win, of course. And those 4 top 10s to finish the year pushed this team from 16th to 5th. And so that's all I'm going to say on that. Ladies and gentlemen, our 5th place finisher for 2008, EYKC Racing.
Tell Greg get on, we'll see him next year.
Yeah.
When he gets 18, I'll bring him down.
Hey, well, that money just turned 21 and sign him up.
Good idea, Rudy.
Right, you 35 now. Come on.
4th place. 4th place for 2008. This team spent the whole first half of the year in the top 10, moving as high as 2nd place in week 13 after they won Dover. From here, they spent the rest of the year all the way up to the chase, sitting in either 2nd or 3rd place. All the way, they won Dover and then stayed in 2nd or 3rd all the way up to the chase. The chase hits. They drop down to 8th. They spend the next 10 races slowly moving back up, one spot at a time. By the last 3 races of the year, this team found themselves in a 3-way battle for second place. When we talk about consistency, this team had the one good run, the one win at Dover. They had just 2 top 5s. They had just 3 top 10s, but every week they were still sitting in the top 10. Through the drivers' changes, through the chase, they were always, from the beginning of the year, sitting somewhere in the top 10. Our 2008 4th place team is Sunnyside Around.
Hey, Dewey.
3rd place for
Turn
2008.
that camera off and turn it on again when it comes time.
All
You
right.
can do it now.
Driver changes.
Slot.
Week
on top.
11,
Just switch
driver
right.
changes.
No.
This team is sitting
That way
in
when that
35th
one turns
place.
off, when it's time,
They
just turn
make
it
their
on.
changes
It'll turn
on
itself
week
off after
11,
a couple minutes.
and within 2 weeks, they move all the way to 12th. By week 16, they've moved into the top 10. 7 weeks later, and still sitting in 10th, and not moving at all, they're stuck in 10th, they win the Michigan race. This win shoots them all the way to 4th place. When the chase hits, they find themselves sitting in 9th. But each week of the chase, they began to move up slowly. In week 33, they finished 8th at Atlanta. This moved them into a tie for 3rd with Smoke D&D, who everybody had been chasing all year. The following week, Texas, they get the win. This moves them into 2nd place. The final race of the year is Homestead, and they finished okay, but not enough to hold the 2nd place finish, and they ended up in 3rd. But in the end, it was a very strong year. This team had wins at Michigan, Texas, had 4 top 5s, had 6 top 10s, and our 3rd place finisher for 2008, EV Racing.
Go, baby.
Second place for 2008.
Had a bump past me on last week.
Yes, he did. Spent the first half of the year hanging around at the bottom of the top 10. At the driver changes, this team was sitting in 7th with a win at Phoenix. But the driver changes didn't seem to work real well for this team because they began to slip. By week 14, this team had fallen out of the top 10. Week 15, they had fallen to 14th. In week 16, they had fallen to 16th. Week 19, they're down to 23rd. Week 25, right before the chase, they're still sitting in 23rd. But when the chase hit, the combination of bonus points from Johnson and Edwards, who ultimately finished 1st and 2nd, of course, shot this team up into 6th place. So they were struggling, sitting in 23rd, but that Johnson-Edwards combination shot them into 6th place. By week 31, with just 5 races to go, this team had actually fallen back to 9th. But this team had something going on for them. They were the only team in the top 10 who had Jimmy Johnson. Week 32, Jimmy Johnson wins Martinsville. And this team now moves 5 places. They were in 9th place. Jimmy Johnson wins Martinsville. They move from 9th, bang, up to 4th place. Week 33, the next week, another top 10, this time at Atlanta. This team moves into 2nd place. Week 34, another top 10. But unfortunately, they fell a spot because EV Racing won Texas. So he finished in the top 10, but fell a spot, and that's very unusual. But they were only 1 point out of 2nd place. Week 35 was a poor showing at Phoenix. And it dropped them to 4th place. But the final race of the year was Homestead. This is the only team out of the top